Hey, what's up everyone? This is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video. This is another one in my vlog series that I do through the Memphis Songwriters Association in conjunction with the blog that I write for them, talking all about songwriting and what has worked for various artists over the course of a handful of years, whether those songs have been hits or not. So this latest kick that I'm on is called Isn't It Ironic? And we are looking at the use of irony in songs. And thus far, we have looked at the songs Birmingham Sunday by Joan Baez, as well as Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Now we are going to take a look at Alice's Restaurant by Arlo Guthrie. So some background, I mentioned this song while talking about Give It Away by George Strait, because he uses a vocal delivery that borders on talking like Arlo does in this song. I can't quite remember how old I was the first time I heard Alice's Restaurant, but like many of my earliest musical memories, I remember hearing it in my dad's car. For the past 6 years or so, I have enjoyed telling my students about the greatest Thanksgiving song ever written, and then playing it for them on guitar. It's the cleanest version I can do, but hey, it's also educational. And on a sentimental note, one of my students made me a mix of my favorite songs, and the cover was a picture of me superimposed onto the cover of Alice's Restaurant, like that album cover, except I made him put a shirt on me because I didn't want that getting out. But lyrically, it may not seem like it since the song is over 18 minutes long, taking up the entire first side of its parent album of the same name, but Alice's Restaurant is told in 3 parts. The first part tells the tale of the time Arlo and his friend went up to visit their friend Alice and her husband Ray in Stockbridge, Massachusetts for Thanksgiving. Alice owned a restaurant, but the restaurant wasn't called Alice's Restaurant. That's just the name of the song, and that's why the song is called Alice's Restaurant. Anyway, after they have a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, Arlo and his friend thought it would be a nice gesture to take out the garbage and bring it to the dump. There was a lot of it, as Alice and Ray had used the old church where they lived. They lived in the bell tower above the church, but they used the old church to store all the garbage. So they put all the garbage in their red VW microbus with shovels and rakes and implements of destruction and brought it to the dump. The dump was closed, it being Thanksgiving and all, but they decided to dump the garbage there anyway. The next morning, they ended up getting arrested for littering and had to stand trial where the town of Stockbridge showed the jury 27 8x10 glossy photographs with circles and arrows on and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. And they had to pay $50 and pick up litter on the side of the road. So I, got into quote mode, and, it should be noted that, when I told my parents that I did this for my students, my dad was like, there's no way you have that song memorized, and I do mostly. And so I started quoting it, and my mom just looks at me and she goes, okay, we get it, because she knew that I would have just gone for the whole thing. But anyway, so where does the irony come in? I'm glad you asked. So the second part of the song sees Arlo going to New York to be screened for the draft during the Vietnam War. At some point in the screening process, they determined that Arlo had been arrested after he tells them about the 27 8x10 glossy photographs with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. And it is determined based on that he's unfit to serve because he's a litter bug. Of course, morally, there were way worse things going on in Vietnam, and way worse things that all of the people on the Group W bench, where they put you if you may not be moral enough to join the army after committing your special type of crime, were, so he got paired with them and realized what they were in for, mother raping and father stabbing, but they took exception to his littering. So, of course, that's where the irony comes in, because he recognized the irony and called it out. His fingerprints, as he claimed at the end of the song in the third part, were somewhere in Washington, and he finally then reveals that the only reason he's singing this song is because someone listening might be in a situation where they need to get out of military service, and in order to do so, they just need to go into the shrink's office and sing a bar of Alice's Restaurant. In one of my favorite lines that I quote often, he says that if 2 people do it, it won't work, but if 50 people do it, that's a movement. It's an incredibly goofy song, but like I tell my students, it's very culturally important and really a redefining protest song. So melodically, Arlo has said that since the lyrics were so complex, the only way for the tune to work was to put the simplest guitar part behind it, and so the Piedmont blues picking pattern, emulative of minstrel shows as well, is repeated throughout the whole song. The song is written in the key of E major and uses E, C sharp 7, F sharp 7, B7, and E, which is a 1, 6, 7, 2, 7, 5, 7, 1 pattern. Of course, with the repetitive nature of the melody, it makes sense that it would begin and end on the 1. Instrumentally, it only contains a guitar with a capo on the 2nd fret. So structurally, Alice's Restaurant starts off with an introductory verse, and that is followed by the chorus. The chorus is only sung 3 places throughout the song, once after the verse and twice at the end. The rest are just verses, or you can think of the rest as being just one big long verse. The lack of a regular chorus is an excellent choice as it adds to the humor of the song. At one point, after a long bit of rambling, he mentions Alice and says, "You remember Alice? There's a song about Alice." And it wouldn't be nearly as funny if Arlo brought it up more often in the song. It works great and easily could have gone in our Unorthodox Song Structures blog and vlog, because there's simply nothing like this one lyrically or structurally. So a little bit of a fun fact, it's a running joke in the Guthrie family that this is the last thing that Woody heard before he died. What a fabulous way to spend the last 18 minutes and 34 seconds of your life. I do want to point out, give kind of a melancholy happy trails at the end. I must have written this before she died, but Alice Brock actually passed away, appropriately enough, right, like it was like the Saturday before Thanksgiving of 2024, and so it was really wild because I played, the song for my students, and they were all like, "What the heck is this?" Some of them really latched onto it though, which was terrific. But anyway, so she passed away right before Thanksgiving, and so I told him, I said, "Hey, you remember Alice? There's a song about Alice." And unfortunately, she passed away, but she just did terrific work through this non-denominational church, and it eventually became the Woody Guthrie Foundation, or the Arlo Guthrie Foundation, I should say, in Massachusetts. And so they, really work to educate people and, help them come together, despite their differences and all of that good stuff. So rest in peace, Alice Brock, and thank you for inspiring the character of Alice in this song and then in the subsequent movie. But you can listen to Alice's Restaurant. It is in the description of this particular video. And of course, when the guitar back's in, I want everybody singing along with feeling. I'm Minnesota Mike. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out all of my other vlogs right here on YouTube and all my other blogs, which can be found on the Memphis Songwriters Association website. Thank you so much.